that you testified 5533. No, the other one. What's the other one? I'm sorry, I came in. 5486. I came in a little late. This is the 2,000 distance for sex offenders to live near a school. I come from New Haven with the 1,500, and the only place in New Haven that doesn't have a school or daycare or anything is on the Yale golf course, and that's 1,500. So pretty much, part of me says, great, this is a great idea. We'll move them all to Wallingford or Milford or wherever. But I think we're pushing a population of people into a realm that's going to automatically create another way of them being rearrested. And I think we have to come up with a better way of addressing that. And I did see in your bill that you did say that if they are already living in that area, that they would not have to be moved. I'm just not sure that creating boundaries like this, I agree we don't want them near our daycares, and we don't want them near our schools, and we want them moved away. But doing a residency law like this, I think, is really going to create even more of a problem. Especially, I think it's going to push people into the suburbs where they're not going to be able to access any of the services that they need, where there's going to be very limited transportation. And I think Woodbridge is probably going to push back on this idea, because theoretically they could live in any of those districts without having to be within the zone of 2,000 of a daycare or a school. So I'm just not sure if we understand what the consequences are when we do something like this.
Thank you, Representative Walker, and I think you've raised very good 5486. Unfortunately, I wish I could probably just say that sexual offenders only reside in cities, but that is certainly not the case. They're everywhere, including the suburbs. With that said, it's still my belief that 2,000 feet is still not overly restrictive. And even in New Haven, Hartford, Danbury, any of the other cities, there certainly are areas that they would still be able to reside within, and nonetheless be able to get whatever services it is that they need. I think most importantly, when we look at this, we do also just need to keep in mind that we are trying to protect our children, and sexual offenders are people who are prone to reoffend. And the last thing we want to do is put them in an environment, or allow them in an environment, or allow them to be near children where obviously the likelihood of that happening is considerably increased.
Representative Holder-Winfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your statement about it not being overly restrictive leads me to believe that there are places where the restriction is more than 2,000 feet. Are there such places?
In my findings, and I actually do have some information of the other 27 states that have similar laws. In fact, I don't know off the top of my mind if it was over 2,000 feet or not. I do know that there was some states with slightly less, but there was a variety of different states that had, in addition to schools and daycare centers, they had parks. They had anywhere where children gather, which can be a considerable number of places. It could be, obviously, a girls and boys club facility. It could be a variety of different things. So comparably, this is not that restrictive compared to some other states out there.
So you were looking at the overall effect versus the distance. Okay, and I would have to, although I don't necessarily want individuals who've committed sexual offenses in my neighborhood, like most people, I would have to concur with Representative Walker that when we did the study for drug offenses, we did find that there was nowhere to live except the golf course, and no one's living there. So you made the statement after she did that they would be able to live in New Haven, but they wouldn't. And I'm not advocating for them living in New Haven, but I'm just thinking that we need to be accurate in our portrayal. And in that vein, you said that sexual offenders are more likely to recidivate. I'm curious. That's curious to me because I read a study from the Bureau of Justice Statistics that say that sexual offenders are about likely to recidivate in terms of sexual crimes at a rate of 5.3% as opposed to 1.3 for someone who hadn't previously committed a sexual crime. But in terms of overall crimes, people who are in the prison population in general are in the 60s in terms of recidivism rates, and sexual offenders overall are in the 40s. So I'm trying to figure out where you got your numbers from.
All the research I have looked at, and unfortunately I don't have it with me here before me, but I'll be more than happy to provide that to the committee. I mean, sexual offenders, again, it's high prone that they are going to recommit, unfortunately.
I would like to see that because I'm quoting from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, which I think is pretty accurate. But I'd like to have that conversation with you.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thank you.